local people, local news and events, local sports, local matters. For all things Lloydminster area, this is Live with Kurt Price.
Hey, welcome inside the new Lloydminster Nissan, now located on Highway 17 South. We'll be coming up on our one-year anniversary this May of moving into this beautiful new building. And speaking of new, the 2025 new Armadas, the new Muranos, and the new Kicks have arrived here at the new Lloydminster Nissan. Totally redesigned, and we invite you to come in and see them for yourself. We have a great selection of fantastic colors in the 2025 Muranos, and we have a couple of Armada Pro 4Xs, which is a brand new line for you to look at. And in the showroom, you'll see a beautiful new Kicks as well. Come and have a look at the new Lloydminster Nissan on Highway 17 South. Well, Dawn Riley is with us today. We've been talking to Dawn for a while about coming in and talking to us. She is the Program Director of Special Projects with Focus Society in Vermilion, and we have CEO of the Focus Society with us. We have Rob Snow here as well, and we're excited that we're going to talk today about the launch of a transportation circuit pilot project happening in Vermilion. It's a pilot project that we've seen a lot of people get jealous of here in Lloydminster, so we'll find out a little bit more about that. It's not just a name, it is Superior Water. Superior Water has 2 locations in Lloydminster. They're open on Saturdays and Sundays to make filling your big blue jugs a whole lot quicker and easier. And if you want great tasting water right from your tap, call the Superior Water team and ask about their under-the-sink reverse osmosis systems. 780-875-6636. I drink Superior Water because, after all, it is Superior Water. Superior Water, open on 57th Avenue, Monday to Friday, 8 to 6, Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 5. Plus, of course, they have a coin-operated location right by 7-Eleven, just off Highway 17 South. Well, the Border City Collectors Club is hosting their annual show and sale this Friday, March 7th. Runs from 5 to 9. Saturday, March 8th, from 9 to 5. Admission is just $5 a person. Families can get in for $15. And with your admission, you're entered in to win some awesome door prizes. And Don Whiting and Brad Bogutsky were here, and they told us there's a variety of hot products out there right now.
Old advertising, like old signs.
Yeah. Signs are really popular.
One thing I kind of like, but old gas station signs, old country store signs.
Lots of people are building their man caves.
Hot right now.
His and her caves, right? And that's where a lot of that stuff is going. The old sports memorabilia, like old curling brooms, old hockey sticks, some old sports equipment. If the guy was on a fire department looking for old fire extinguisher, that kind of, everybody's got a theme.
Local seniors are invited to the Legacy Center March 13th for the Lloydminster Seniors Information Fair. The fair runs from 1 to 3 and will feature 25 vendors this year and 2 breakout sessions. And this is a chance to see what the city has to offer for seniors. The Border City Rotary Club is very excited to be bringing back Irish Pub Night to the Nissan Hall on February 15th. Les Hansen told us the more intimate location should provide a great atmosphere, and they're excited to bring back some of the fun games again this year.
Got these beautiful little green boots, rubber boots we've had for every year, and every year I got to sterilize them afterwards, but we fill them and we use those in our chug contests. And if you ever tried drinking out of a rubber boot, think about what side you should use before you tip it up.
Sorry about that, because March the 15th, and tickets are just $25. You get a mug and some beads on entering, and there's a fun contest to see who can collect the most beads. Lloydminster Bobcats have their Pink in the Rink game tomorrow night at the Civic Center against Whitecourt. Wear pink to the game, you get in for free. It's that easy. Puck drop is 7 p.m., brought to you by the Lloydminster and District Co-op. And Game 3 between Vermilion and Lloydminster in the Northeast Alberta Junior B Hockey League semifinal series is tonight, 8 p.m. in Vermilion. The Bandits currently lead that series 2-0. And sticking with hockey, the Border City Connects are hoping to hold their annual charity hockey game again on April 4th. And Aaron Buckingham told us the organization is in need of hockey players this year to make the 12-hour game happen. They have 4 teams that they put together, and he's organizing those teams and says if you want to sign up as a group and play on one team, he'll accommodate you as best that he can. But each player is responsible for raising a minimum of $500. And then the competition begins on and off the ice.
So there is a prize for most funds raised, and typical of the good-hearted, wonderful-natured people that play in the game, I've never given the prize out. It's been donated back to the organization towards the total goal. So that's, it just tells you the kind of people that are out doing this kind of thing.
Cupcakes for Caregivers is presented by Lloydminster Sobeys and the Lloydminster District United Way here on Live with Kurt Price. And we're always looking for nominations. Caregivers are essential to providing emotional support as well as physical support, and a lot of caregivers do both. If you know a caregiver that is deserving of recognition, you can email livewithkurtprice@gmail.com and tell us about that caregiver. They could receive a dozen signature cupcakes, but also be recognized for their dedication. You can nominate doctors, nurses, child caregivers, any dedicated caregiver in your community. And once again, just send an email to livewithkurtprice@gmail.com. Tell us a little bit about that special caregiver. They're committed, certified, reliable, and will help you get your life back. BioClean Disaster Services is Lloydminster's local restoration company. They're also Lloydminster's largest restoration company at 1-833-246-8326, because taking care of your belongings and taking care of your property is very important, of course. But what's really important is taking care of you and your family. That's what really matters to BioClean Disaster Services. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to hear from Don and Rob about this pilot project in Vermilion that has people talking both in Vermilion and in Lloydminster going, hey, what about us?
At Diamond 7 Meats, we work with local farm families to provide a high-quality product and a great selection for you. Try our mouth-watering smokies, pulled pork, roast beef, and more, made pure and natural with no additives or fillers. We offer custom processing, and our experienced team works for you to provide a selection of sausage, burgers, and jerkies made to your specifications. Take your grilling to the next level with a Yoder smoker. Complete the grilling experience with Canadian-made, award-winning line of House of Q barbecue sauces. We're locally owned and operated, and we look forward to seeing you today.
At CK McKean Roofing, they understand what it took to put that roof over your head for your family. With over 20 years of experience under their belt, they strive to show you that with their workmanship and their integrity. Not all roofing companies are created equal, and that's why CK McKean Roofing encourages you to focus on your most important investments, your home and your family. CK McKean Roofing. Roofers do it on top.
At Lloydminster and District Co-op, membership matters more. Because being part of a co-op means you're connected to something bigger than yourself. From long-held legacy by those who built our communities, to people you call family, friends, and neighbors. When you're a Lloyd Co-op member, you're an owner in a local business that prides itself on purpose alongside profit. You earn cash back, you help support causes that matter most, and you're building a better way of life for the next generation. Membership matters more.
Wellings of Lloydminster is an active 55 and over community with 66 bungalow townhome villas on a very flexible lease. Now, each unit contains a full kitchen with 5 appliances, walk-in showers, and in-suite laundry with 1 and 2 bedroom choices. Now, those 2-bedroom villas also include a great garage. It's a no-maintenance concept where you have everything done for you. So when we get that heavy snow in April, you won't have to shovel it. When it gets really hot in the summer, you won't have to cut grass. It's called Care, Freedom, living, and it does just that. If you're a traveler, well, then you don't have to worry about what is happening with your house as you're going away for months and months on time. And if your health is starting to become a concern, then Care Freedom Living is perfect for you because you can still live independently. That's Wellings of Lloydminster. Well, welcome back inside the new Lloydminster Nissan, and we are really excited to have Dawn Riley with us, and I've been communicating back and forth with Dawn about coming in for a while now. Really excited to talk about this pilot project, and she's brought with her the CEO of Focus Society, and that is Rob Snow. So welcome both. We're really excited to have you guys here.
Thanks for inviting us.
So maybe to understand exactly what this pilot project is all about and things like that, maybe we should start at the beginning. Just tell us a little bit about the Focus Society, what you're responsible for, what you do.
Yeah, so Focus has been around actually since 1959. Actually started just serving 5 families got together to take care of their children with disabilities, developmental disabilities, and it's kind of expanded from there. Right through the 90s, we were solely developmental disability supports. In 2003, we actually moved into Lloydminster and started a family and children crisis program. And our newest project was when Dawn came on, and we actually started a medical transportation service in 2022 to kind of offset the challenges with EMS leaving our communities to take these transfers to the city, be it Saskatoon or Edmonton, that EMS wasn't really needed. Paramedics weren't needed. People just needed a ride. And from there, and this is where Dawn really steps in, we've evolved it to seeing the greater transportation needs of our community and have just this year started our Vermilion transit circuit. And what we've done is we've solicited the community and the seniors and kind of understood the needs. And people were saying they need to get around, they need to have a social environment. So by providing a bus, folks from the lodge can get on together, go downtown, have a coffee together, do their shopping together, and have that social environment while supplying their consumer needs.
Okay, so the first question that I have is the pilot project your own pilot project? Is the government involved? Is the town of Vermilion involved? Who's involved with the pilot project?
So it is us that we have no funding from the government on it at all. It's our just totally focus. The town is very supportive of us, of course. They help promote it. They are encouraging residents to use it. They're actually helping us build a couple of bus stops because we have a couple of park benches that are in the way. And so they're going to move them once the weather is nice enough so that we can drop like bus stops there. We do call them a bus stops. It is our van that we started for our medical transport. So it's wheelchair accessible and has a ramp. And so we can take people who are in wheelchairs as well as people just mobility limitations too. So, yeah.
So how big is that van? Like, how many people can you?
That's our challenge right now.
Yeah.
So the van was purchased to do medical trips, which typically would seat between 4 and 6, and that's with wheelchairs. So that's what it fits, is 4 to 6. So during our pilot, we're not going to be looking at expanding the size of that. And, God willing, we come to that challenge where we need more seats, but we're looking at alternative vehicles to have like maybe a 12 to 16 seater, kind of that small school bus size vehicle. But our goal is to keep it that accessible and make sure it's not limited. So it's not a handy van. It's not limited to people with mobility issues. But obviously, we want to make sure that they have the equal access and they're included in our community as well. So
I'm kind of curious when you say that's our challenge right now. Are you having to leave people and say, well, we'll come right back?
Not yet.
We haven't yet, but we were close. We've been close a couple of times where it was full.
Yeah. So we started in the coldest month
Yeah.
of the year, which was really, really good thinking and planning on our part, right? Nobody leaves the house when it's minus 36.
Yeah.
So the first couple weeks were slower, but now with the awesome weather we're getting, knock on wood, it stays. But we're seeing those numbers now have doubled, tripled. And so we haven't left anyone yet, and we're quickly trying to figure out contingency plans. We do have a second van that's accessible, but we try to keep it for that medical trips, right? And we know there's groups in our community that will lend us vans that are bigger if we do get to that point. So Yeah.
How did you identify the need for this?
Actually, from the medical transport. So we have several regulars, in-town regulars, who would book a medical appointment, we'd take them, and then we'd get so can we stop at on the way back? So several of them we stopped to fill a prescription or something, and so they'd come out with 2 full grocery bags or shopping bags after they'd been in the pharmacy. And so we kind of identified it just from that alone. And then just conversations. If you live in Vermilion, you know it's not necessarily walker friendly. If you're older, you have mobility issues, things, because Vermilion goes this way, not like just the layout of the town makes it kind of hard. So we created
That's kind of horizontal.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
created a route that hits what we, in conversations with our clients where we were taking them, we started our lodge, we go to the Dollarama at the mall. We park at that door just because it's the best door, but the mall's accessible that way. And then we hit all the pharmacies get hit on the route. The senior center, the hospital, all the doctor's offices, the dentist office, all the banks, and Tim Hortons, because we had a couple of seniors, are you going to go to Tim Hortons? So the week before the circuit started, we redid the route for the 3rd time to incorporate the Tim Hortons. And they've been super supportive. They really have stepped up to the plate to support us on this.
Like Tim Hortons?
The Tim Hortons has, yeah.
It's-
Because it is kind of out of the way.
Yeah.
It is out of the way. Part of our needs assessment, so we worked with, and as Don mentioned, our riders, and then talking to the local senior center and the lodge. But equally, we went out to the businesses and said, like, if you guys had a transportation service, what's it look like to you guys, right? Where does stop? And because we needed their buy-in, right? And right now, and thank you to all our sponsors that are sponsoring the bus, we got that buy-in in spades. We actually have gotten double the amount of support that we actually were budgeting for in our plan. But it was because we went to them and said, what works for you? So we want to support a need to the people that have mobility challenges, be it they have a stroller or a walker or they just don't have a vehicle. But we also want to support the needs of the community and the economic growth. And so it's been really great. One story, if I can share it really quick, about Tim Hortons. This is our like aha moment where, hey, we're doing a good thing. 2 of our local riders now started riding essentially just because it's, hey, I get to ride around town. And one of the first days when they stopped at Tim Hortons said, I've never been to Tim Hortons before. Never been there.
Wow.
So our driver stopped and let them run in and grab a Tim Hortons, come out, and she got a picture of them holding their Tim Hortons. First time they've ever gotten a double. And these 2 elderly, well, they're elderly, they're younger than me, but these 2 gentlemen were just glowing because they got their Timmies. And I just think that's what it's all about, right? Let's connecting our residents with opportunities as simple as something that I take for granted. I have one right now, right? Like I stop at Tim Hortons every day. Somebody that's walking can't walk 2.5 kilometers to a Tim Hortons, especially if they have mobility issues. So yeah, that's our kind of champion story right now.
So we are working with the senior center for their events. So if they've got like they do a games night or a games day, and their birthday and anniversaries on Mondays, and we're also going to try to serve a few of our special events. So for example, April 6th we're going to be operating, which is a Sunday, for the district's music festival for their showcase piece that they do at Parkview Alliance Church. And so we're going to have the route running that day, so that if somebody wants to go watch the live music and the performances, they can hop on. Wendy's going to do the route, our driver, that day. And then we've been talking to the Ag Society about the fair, getting people to the fairgrounds and Canada Day celebrations. And so we're hoping to not just serve the normal Monday to Friday, but to let that social piece, right? People who wouldn't necessarily get to go to Canada Day stuff or the fair don't go to the fair anymore because it's too hard to get there and park and get around and things like that. So is the hope.
Rob, you mentioned sponsors. Could you do this without sponsors?
No, absolutely not. We,
a fee-for-service model would just be too taxing on our residents, right? Because when you think about the clients we're serving, typically they don't have vehicles, lower income, or they're seniors that now, are living on that fixed income. So we're trying to keep our rates low. Like we say we don't compete with the taxis, and we appreciate how the taxis have their role, but we want to keep our prices low. So we absolutely rely on our sponsors. And to your question before, like, is there government support? Obviously we look for grants and but there's no government backing to this. This is a focus initiative. And what we've done is we've taken our motto, branching out, and branched out to the businesses and said, hey, we're community, let's work together. And a resounding response. So one of our marketing tactics is, and I think you guys have a couple buses around town here that serve either the senior center or different facilities. They get those wraps put on the bus.
Yep.
We haven't gone to that point yet because it is still a medical transportation, so we have to have our chevrons on the back, but we've gotten magnets. So if you're a sponsor, you get a magnet thrown on the side of the bus, and when we're doing our transit circuits, not circus. That's a whole different project we're working on.
Yeah.
Right? Stay tuned. No.
Yeah.
But it's great that they're stepping up like that. Yeah.
And actually, the magnets are going on today. We actually just got them the other day, and so the first round of sponsors and magnets are going on today. So.
Well, I know when you guys had posted on social media, a lot of people in Lloydminster went, hey, we should look at doing this here. So I have a lot more questions, including we'll find out about cost and how you pick the days, because I'm interested about that.
Oh, yeah.
And also where this could possibly be going. We'll take a break and be right back here at the new Lloydminster Nissan.
How can you help support the oil and gas industry and jobs in Western Canada? The answer is closer than you think. Sell your scrap metals to PWM Steel. PWM sells scrap iron to Evraz, located in Regina. Evraz's #1 customer is the energy sector, building pipes and plates for the oil and gas industry. PWM Steel is your locally owned metal recycler and steel service center in the area. Plus, they're a strong supporter of the community. PWM Steel, your top steel supplier for Alberta and Saskatchewan for 40 years.
At Jason Arden Associates Cooperators, we're proud to be a top-rated local insurance company that offers flexible solutions and expert advice for all your insurance and investment needs. We'll work with you to tailor your insurance specific to your needs, and we offer investment advice that always puts you first. At Cooperators, one of our core values is to give back to the communities that we live in. Thanks to the support of our clients in Lloydminster and area, in 2023, Jason Arden Associates has donated $40,000 to local nonprofits, charities, students, athletes, and other special events. How does your insurance company support our community?
It's more than just taxes at L&A CPA. Assurance, accounting, retirement planning, estate planning, business consulting, financial consulting, farm program support, and bookkeeping. But yes, there is always taxes. The team at L&A CPA is committed to helping you achieve your best results and will be there to assist you every step of the way. L&A CPA, with offices in Provost, Vermilion, and Lloydminster.
I'm Brian Zinchuk of PipelineOnline.ca. I used to be a pipeliner, and I've spent the last 15 years reporting on energy in Saskatchewan. PipelineOnline.ca provides comprehensive coverage of light oil, heavy oil, lithium, helium, power production including coal, wind, solar, geothermal, natural gas, and nuclear. There's a lot happening in Saskatchewan's energy sector, and Pipeline Online is there for all of it. No one else comes even close.
Hey, welcome back inside the new Lloydminster Nissan. Excited to have, we have Rob Snow with us and Don Riley from Focus Society. And when they posted that they had this pilot project underway with Transit Vermilion, a lot of people in Lloydminster went, hey, how did Vermilion get public transportation before we did? And just every time we talk a little bit more, I hear things come up and I'm like, why can't we do that? And then we took the break and I went, oh, that wouldn't work here, that wouldn't work with some of these questions. So we'll get to that. But how long has this been going on? How long?
So February 11th was the launch, and it was, I believe, literally the third or fourth coldest day of the year is what we picked. And our driver was wonderful and amazing that day. We did have several people ride it that day just to see the route and to see what it really looked like. And then the ridership has actually just gone up since then. We've gone to all the manors in Vermilion and presented to them. We presented at the senior center. And every week we've had more. Actually, as the weather's gotten nicer, people have come out of hibernation too, which has helped. So yeah.
What's the average age of your rider?
So it's seniors. It's been actually like everybody. It's been seniors right from the start because our stops are the lodge and then the 3 manors in town to pick people up. And I mean, people can get on at any stop, and there is no age limit. It just seems to be right now that's who's using it. So, and that's who we kind of appeal to.
We've been
right
a little
off the bat.
tactical in addressing seniors' needs first. A lot of grants will be more open to meeting seniors' needs and healthy aging, and there's a lot of initiatives. But our focus is to ensure that all of the community has it. But right now, definitely you'll see most of our marketing does target seniors.
When you went out and talked to people about, like, in businesses and stuff, did you get any pushback? Like, I'm interested, like, once you found the route, because I think everybody's always worried about, well, this person's not going to be happy, that person's not going to be happy.
Yeah. Not from the businesses. In the 3 years I've been at Focus, the businesses in Vermilion shine like stars. They are amazing for supporting us on anything we've done in terms of fundraising or promotion stuff. They're actually excited. We've actually, there were businesses we didn't approach off the start. We did kind of a strategic of businesses that we knew would be on the route, and then we had businesses that weren't officially on the route phone us and offer to support us when they heard about it. No, Vermilion businesses are amazing for supporting Focus on a bunch of these that we do.
The one thing we try to be very aware of is starting up, even though we're not a new business, it is a new business, the transit circuit, and a small community. You never want to start up something that's just going to push something else out, right? So we wanted to be very aware that taxis have their place, handy vans have their place, because we're not a handy van, we're transit circuit. And we want to support them in their place, but fill that gap that they're missing, right? So as long as we presented it that way, I think the businesses around town were very aware that, hey, this is a positive for our community. And part of our marketing with businesses is to say, hey, if you want to support us this way, possibly there'll be a stop closer to your business front, right? And you know, that's might give an unfair advantage to one business over the other, but really it helps us keep those costs low so riders can get on with a fair price.
How many stops are there, and how long is the route?
There are 13 stops on the route, and the route is 52 minutes.
That's all it takes?
Yeah, so yeah, so.
So how many times, like what time?
6. There's 6 circuits in a day. She starts at 9, they start at 9 at the lodge, and they're at the Co-op grocery store is the last stop on the circuit, and she leaves there at 9:52 to go back to the lodge. 9:50, like she sits there for a couple minutes, but in the parking lot to go back to the lodge, and so she's back at the lodge for just before 10 and stays for a couple of minutes and then does it again.
So you had mentioned like maybe doing the fair and doing another event on a Sunday and stuff like that. So how did you pick to do, because you do Tuesdays and Thursdays, how did you pick the date?
So there's a few reasons. There's our senior center always does stuff on Thursdays, and so that was part of it. Tuesdays seem to be the day when it's seniors discounts and scratches and like first of the month types, like senior discount days are often Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so that was, and then Rob actually and we actually sat one afternoon and figured out what day do we have multiple trips with the medical, and Tuesdays and Thursdays were the least days. So it just kind of worked for our scheduling that way to do that. Again, my wish is we're going to get to a 5-day a week project at some point and be on the road Monday to Friday with a whole new vehicle. That's my goal, but
I do want to talk
yeah.
about that. I do want to talk about where you hope this goes. Like, how will you deem this a success?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, success first and foremost is, are we meeting the needs that we kind of outlined? And I feel like we're getting there. And so that doesn't necessarily mean the bus is full every time. It means is it being consistently used. Where we want to go is probably where we actually started from when Don and me started talking about this. We actually looked initially at a larger rural transit system that would connect communities. So our bus would go to Kitscotty and then to Eiley and kind of do a larger circuit, and then even drawing into dropping people off in Lloydminster and dropping people off in Vermilion. As we looked at that, we realized we're not there yet. We're not that big, and we definitely don't have enough revenue in our pockets or money in our pockets to start that, right? And so we stepped back and worked together and said, well, what can we do? What's that greater need? And can we just do it locally? And so we built the project, and our board jumped on it and said, great, run with it.
What is the cost to your riders? And how do you sell?
So one way is $5. And then you can do a all-day pass, so hop on and off as much as you want for $20. So for things like the suggestion there is maybe from the lodge to, say, Tuesdays is our farmer's market starting next week. So that's one of our stops. Hopping off at the farmer's market, going for the 10 o'clock coffee that there's a whole group of people do. And while they're at coffee, they usually plan where they're going for lunch. And so then hopping on to go to lunch, and then hopping on to go back, or to go to the grocery store and then go home. That pass would cover all that. So, and then we do also honor, the town of Vermilion has vouchers, and so does the seniors coordinator, and we do honor those vouchers too. For those are a fixed income funding program that they have, and we honor those too. So anybody can ride it that way.
Do you sell a monthly pass?
Not yet.
And how do you, like, do you get a bracelet? What do you?
No, you just get you just get a little ticket, and so we have, we sell them at our office. Our driver has some on her all the time. The lodge will have some, the Vermilion Valley Lodge. The farmer's market will sell them every Tuesday. Lakeside Pharmacy has a whole bunch, so they're attached to Midtown Medical Clinic. And then the senior center are selling them for us, like they're, so, yeah.
Okay. What time is the last route?
So the last leave from the lodge is 3, so that the route 3 to 4. Now, if somebody's a little behind or doesn't make that last pickup, but had planned on it and our driver knows it, when the 4 o'clock route's done, she actually the other day went and picked somebody up who just missed her by a few minutes. Her appointment just took longer than it thought. And,
oh yeah.
And then went and grabbed her and took her back to the lodge. So yeah, we're not going to leave somebody stranded if we don't
Is the
have to.
convenience of a small community,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we're small enough we
something
could
like
do
that.
that,
Probably
yeah.
wouldn't work here where you can just go back and
Yeah.
pick them up. But being our community's 3 kilometers by a half a kilometer,
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to get around.
So the whole route, 52 minutes. And I just imagine Tuesdays and Thursdays, doctor's appointments filling right up.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, and a couple of the doctor's offices, they're aware of it. And so I've had several phone calls of, what time should I book my doctor's appointment? Until I got the route posted online this morning, I've had a couple of, what time do I need to book my doctor's appointment for when the bus comes here at this time? I've had phone calls like that already. And then they've booked their appointment to work that they're getting off, or not having to wait too long to get into the doctor, yeah.
One of your questions you'd ask is what success look like?
Yeah.
What does success look like? Sorry. And that's one of the metrics we're looking at is, once we've gone in 6 months, have doctor's appointments increased on Tuesdays and Thursdays, have the businesses noticed an increase, right? And so that'll be that economic and support services success that we're hoping to see.
Down the road.
Down the road.
But would you say it had been successful so far in the early going?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, at first glance, the numbers are low, but when you compare it to the size of the community and the weather challenges we've had, I actually didn't expect anyone on the first day.
And
so the fact that we got 4 or 5 or whatever it was great, right? And the success that I'm seeing is in that word of mouth as well. You know, my mom lives in the community. She's in her 70s, and she's getting people calling her all the time. When's that bus going to stop by my place? And so we see that interest and that excitement in our community. So I'd say based on that, yeah, it is very successful.
And actually the 4 Parkway Manor residents who caught it last Tuesday got off at Timmy's. 4 of the ladies went in, and when Wendy came back an hour later, they had their Timmy's and got back on and went home. And to me, that was exactly what it was meant for. That was to me, that was success for. I was happy
getting
for the
them out,
week.
getting them to socialize,
Yeah.
having that conversation.
Yeah.
Do you see ridership, because you mentioned like, oh, it's been full. Do you see that continuing as the weather warms up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I do. It might not be so much people who don't have mobility issues. There'll still be, I think, some people that it's more be the mobility issue, the seniors that have to use walkers or don't have scooters. And a couple of places in Vermilion are not scooter accessible for appointments and stuff. So I think we might just get a little change in our demographics.
I think that's what it'll come down to, is just a change in the ridership, right?
Yeah.
So the folks that like to walk when it's warm are going to walk. But then there's going to be so many more people that don't want to walk, but now the weather's nice, they want to get out, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see that ridership change a little bit. But we're expecting more people like to ride than walk, because we don't see a lot of people walking the streets, right?
Yeah.
And just on the scooters, that's the one thing about our vehicle. It actually is accessible for scooters. Granted, a scooter at one time, but
And one rider.
yeah,
Right.
That would be
it is
yeah.
something that we could accommodate, and it is, as we talked about earlier, one of those challenges that we have to look at going forward is if we grow. So if our growth success is there, just making sure we have vehicles that can accommodate scooters, but maybe more people as well.
So in 6 months, that'll be the reevaluation. Get
Yeah.
to 6 months.
Well, continual, like
Okay.
between now and the 6 months, and if we need to change things, we will. One of our metrics for middle of March in our initial timeline is we're going to make sure the route's working, and if we need to change it, we will, and we're going to do that based on our riders and where they're going and what they're telling us. So it's totally adaptable, right? It's not a set in stone that way. And then even something as simple as the seats in our van are, you can move them around. So is the layout working?
Right.
Just things like that. Is the layout of the way the seats are working? Should we move them in the system a little bit? And are the times working? Do we need to go longer? Do we need to start at 8 and go till 5?
Right.
As the weather gets nicer too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see this going? What do you hope to achieve? Where
Well,
do you hope to get?
like I said,
you had your dream.
I would love to get, me personally, I would love us to get an airport shuttle type bus. So you can put your groceries on it, I can put car seats in it, it can hold 14 people, and then have us available for lots of special events like the fair and Canada Day and Allied Arts events on Saturday nights and folk club events for that aging in place, that healthy aging and that, and then expanding to serve the college and be able to get people to the pool and the provincial park, just that. And being able, even things like bowling, like getting them for the seniors bowling and, yeah.
And there's a bigger picture to it, and I think it was when we're at our break, we're talking about our initial vision was that rural transit, connecting communities. And as we get more into this transport circuit in Vermilion, you kind of change your perspective a bit and say, hey, you know what? Like there's groups in Lloydminster now that maybe do the handy van or the taxi service. Connecting communities doesn't have to be us going to each community, but if we partner with other groups doing something similar, and you have essentially meeting terminals or bus terminals, if you would, in Kidscotty, right? So folks coming from Lloydminster going to visit family in Vermilion, there's a coordinated circuit there that we could expand on. So I think that would be some future growth that we'd like to look at. And obviously the CEO side of me and the business side of me is just make sure it's sustainable.
Right.
Because we want it to last. And that will be our biggest challenge, right? Because keeping prices low. And I know some folks have told me, well, $5 is high. It's high, but it's also very low, right? Like it's high when you're on a fixed income, and we appreciate that, and we try to work with people with that. But when you're trying to pay fuel bills with carbon taxes and all the other things we all know about too much, it's not a lot of money, right? And and we talked about it before. It's partnerships that help us stay sustainable, but that has to continue year after year as well.
Yeah, like the reason we can do 5 is because of the business sponsorships that we've received already. Because we actually originally had a higher, budget-wise, would have had a higher price in mind if we hadn't gotten the support we'd gotten from the town businesses.
So it's going good with ridership and going good financially too right now.
Yeah.
That's a success. The one thing you mentioned was helping seniors. The other group that, and I never even thought of them until you mentioned them, Don, was the students. And Lakeland College in Vermilion is a huge campus. And people going on and off campus all the time. Have you approached Lakeland College?
So they actually approached us last fall about if they ever had students that had mobility issues, because they don't have a vehicle for wheelchair accessibility and stuff. So we've already have a relationship with them that way. And they right now, their international program, they have a van that they use to help some of their students get groceries and stuff on the weekends. But we'd like to be able to expand for not just those students, like everybody that lives in their residence, because there are a lot that come without a vehicle. Just hours that their personnel can't necessarily give them a hand.
And I think that's the growth goal too, right? Like right now, as I mentioned, Vermilion's 3 kilometers by half a kilometer. Our circuit really doesn't catch a big chunk of that, right? It catches a core area. So the idea would be, as the need progresses and as we identify more needs, like maybe college students are wanting to get downtown or get to their place of employment, or they're socializing, that's where we look at those growth needs, right? And say, it makes sense to actually either have a stop over there or, dreaming big, have a different bus and a whole different circuit, right?
Right.
So,
Well, and you said something, Don, that just has stuck with me, and that's the park. You guys have a beautiful park. Like, you want people to use it. Like, more people would use it. This sounds like something the federal government, especially this federal government, would be all over. Taking vehicles off of roads. How come they haven't stepped up, do you think?
Well, they actually do have a program, but it's very hard to get the funding from it. It is. We actually.
If you grew, could you grow into that?
Well, hopefully, we actually tried to get the funding for the bigger project where we were talking through the county and stuff, but it's got some very strict environmental guidelines.
So I can't imagine
that
the
are looking for
federal government having
strict guidelines.
And hoops to jump through.
And it's always interesting to see how many organizations out east get those grants. It's always
keeping an eye on that.
It's why we complain about those things, right? Because we do see them, and not to say that down the road we would hope that they would partner with us in some way, but for now. So part of Dawn's role as special projects, so when we brought her on, we didn't know what title to give her, was obviously to start special projects like the transit circuit, but she's also our grant writer, and she's the one that stresses out every time I look at her and say, I got a new project, but we need money, right? So she's well versed with those challenges, and it is a big challenge, right? Because there is a lot of initiatives. We found a rural transit opportunity with funding, and this is as rural and as transit as you get, and somehow it's doesn't meet the criteria.
Where can you find more information?
Okay, so online, so our Facebook page, our website, And every time I do a Facebook post, I share it to 3 Vermilion and area groups in the County of Vermilion River group on Facebook. You can phone, just give us a shout. And that's, right now, that's kind of the most, or the easiest way to get a hold of us. We actually got a request of, and actually Rob's mom got the request from community members of, when are they going to post it online? So the schedule and the map went up yesterday.
Oh, okay,
online,
okay.
on the Facebook and the
It's an
website.
oversight on our part.
Yeah, we actually were, she got in trouble from some of her friends wondering where it was. So we got that up yesterday. There's pamphlets and stuff all over Vermilion. There's posters all over Vermilion, like all our bus stops have. All our bus stops will have sandwich board bus stops. Actually, J.R. Robson students are probably going to make them for us out of their industrial arts class.
Oh, awesome.
Actually, I think they call it CTS now, but they're going to make us sandwich board bus stops, so they're portable. So we don't have them sitting out there on days there isn't circuit, right? Because we don't want somebody standing in the rain waiting for a bus that's not coming on
Right.
a Wednesday. And all of our bus stop people have said we can store them in there. Like, the business support's been amazing. And they've all said we can store stuff there, and we've got some that are selling the passes for us. And then if the pilot project becomes a permanent project, we'll look at getting permanent bus stop type things and clearing that with the town and stuff.
That's one of the
But,
challenges, being a pilot. You stretch so far, but you always have that in the back of your head, like if it ends, right? And that's comes down to the board decision, right? So part of the governance of a board is making sure our ambitions to serve don't outweigh our bank account, right?
Right.
And so that's the biggest challenge. But how can people get a hold of us? So our website's focussociety.ca, and there is a section there. So if people want to ask a question or just even offer a comment, they send that in, and it'll go to our emails, and then we get back to them as soon as we can, usually within a couple days. And so if people do, because we've had a lot of good questions of, where do I just stand on the corner? Like, is it curbside? Because typically handy vans, that's the model, right? So you call them up, they come to your house, and it's really, especially with our background being disabilities, it's hard for people to differentiate and say, oh, you're not a handy van. You're
Get your head wrapped around it.
you're a bus circuit, and you actually have times and bus stops. So it's something that we encourage people just to reach out to us. If it's through my mom, I guess that's how it, I'm in mid-50s CEO, but I'm still getting my mom telling me what to do, so it's good.
Yeah. And like I said, I've had people phone, can you make sure that they stop to pick me up at the Manor because I have a haircut? And then she called me when her haircut was done to make sure that she'd stop to pick her up when she was done. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Then, and I just give her a quick text of make sure you stop at Shirley's because they're done. And yeah.
Is it getting easier as people kind of figure out the route? And they
Well,
understand it more? Is it getting...
I think it will. Like, it's only been a month.
Right.
Really, right?
And
So,
2 days
yeah.
a week.
Yeah, 2 days a week.
Right,
And
so-
I think it will as the word of mouth and people just conversations. And now that I have a nice map, because part of the problem was we had this really awful looking map because we overlap in a couple of the blocks. And so those will actually go out tomorrow to all the places too. We're gonna have the map with the times posted on their walls. Like I said, all the stops have been awesome. So they have a poster that says the van stops here, and then they have a piece of paper that has their actual stop times. Not just the whole route, but just the stops there, and then they're gonna have a map
Right.
on there too. So, and they've been great for supporting. They're all really excited about it, so.
And it's been able to keep those times? Has there been days?
Yeah, no, Wendy's,
It's been good?
if you met my driver,
Within
yeah,
a
no,
couple
that's,
minutes,
yeah.
They have to be.
Yeah.
They have to
I
be.
Yeah,
would
and
say
s-
once it gets busier, that'll be a bigger challenge, right? But
Well,
when you're
and-
looking at
Yeah.
our busiest day was 9 people in the whole day so far, it's pretty easy to keep those times. But I'm guessing, that's one of the things I'm assuming once we're busy, that'll be my first few phone calls is, yes, it's on its way.
Yeah. And actually, when Wendy and I did the schedule and did the route, she's been amazing. She kind of accounted for not just stopping, but pulling over, stopping, and sitting there for 2 minutes. So unload, load. So she kind of put that in as she established the route and the schedule. She thought ahead to when that starts and we start to get some more traffic, so.
Right.
Yeah.
What am I forgetting?
No, I think that's it. I think we got it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After 6 months, we love if you came back and told us a little bit
Yeah,
about how
for
it's
sure.
going.
Oh, I'll be back, because we're having Jamboree and
Right,
other
right.
things too, yeah.
So I'm curious,
Yeah.
and I'm sure everybody, like, I remember the first time when you messaged me,
Yeah.
and I came in face sitting behind the camera, and the first thing I said to her was, like, and she was like, so Vermilion, like, she said the same thing that people said online, so Vermilion's gonna get, public transportation. And then I sort of thought about, hey, that's true. Yeah, you're kind of right. So it's exciting. I think there'll be a lot of people keeping an eye
Yeah.
on this, and I see some people that are already posting going, hey, Lloydminster, and tagging the city in it.
And honestly, and honestly, if there's groups here, or, you know, like, I would think it'd probably have a lot more municipal involvement in a city than it is for a town, but you know, we've been planning this for over a year, so it's not like we just came up with the idea. So if there's people out there that want to look at what it looks like in Lloyd, and they want our kind of take on some of the challenges, or where do we get money from, we'd love to have them reach out to us. Yeah.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much for having us
here.
Yeah, absolutely. Really enjoyed that.
6 months, we'll bring our bus here.
Yeah.
We'll be back with you tomorrow morning. We're going to talk to the Hope Street team here in Lloydminster about what they're doing with the homeless here in Lloydminster.